We are used to thinking of life as a road, but what if we imagine it as a game? Imagine, we are the characters, and somewhere there are players who choose our steps. The storyline is written like code, and every game has memory, a massive hard drive where all possible scenarios are already stored. This is exactly what the ancients hinted at, and Borges called it the Library of Babel. It is not just books, it is the archive of the universe. In it lies every word, every story, every destiny. And hidden there are the white pages. Have you ever heard of them? Write in the comments. I would love to see your thoughts. They come alive only when someone dares to step beyond the familiar, the secret that is rarely spoken. The Library of Babel is rarely mentioned out loud. It is not a fairy tale and not a legend. It is a place the initiated always knew of, a vault where everything possible is stored. They say this library even has a reflection in our world. Sometimes it is called a digital archive. Sometimes a mysterious site where you can ask about your own story. And if you type in a request there, you may find a book you have not yet written, but one that is already waiting for you in the future. The first to speak of it was Borges. His 1941 story gave us the image of an infinite library, a place that contains every book, every possible combination of letters, every destiny. To most, it seemed like literary fantasy, but those who knew deeper understood. Borges had only found the words for an ancient secret. It was spoken of by mystics of the East and philosophers of Europe. Sufi sages called it aloud al-mahfuz, the preserved tablet, where everything that was and will be is already inscribed. Indian seers spoke of Akasha, the field of memory, where every sound and every movement is preserved. Buddhist teachers said that knowledge already exists, and the task of the practitioner is only to open the gate to it. In Europe, Plato saw it in the world of ideas, the eternal forms that hold the essence of all things. Augustine wrote of the timeless archive of God, where every life has already been inscribed. Leibniz imagined infinite possible worlds, as if each one were a book in the great library. And Hegel spoke of the world spirit, which carries the experience of humanity and unfolds it like the pages of a single, vast tome. The library has always been here, and its essence has always remained the same. There is a space that holds not only the past and the present, but every possible future. This library is not merely a building of books, it is an entire universe. A universe where everything imaginable already exists. Every word, every thought, every story. Infinity, bound into an endless labyrinth of shelves. Welcome to the Library of Babel. A brilliant and terrifying vision. A profound philosophical parable that forces us to question the nature of knowledge, information, and reality itself. What exactly is kept here? In this library, everything exists. Every destiny, every book, every path of civilization. It holds all scientific discoveries, from medicines that could cure any disease to the very formula of the universe itself. It holds every book, written and unwritten, from Shakespeare and Tolstoy to novels that have not yet entered the minds of future authors. It also holds every illusion and false path, texts filled with errors, chaotic clusters of meaningless symbols, entire worlds of disorder. And then there are the special mirror books, volumes that reflect everything about you, your thoughts, your dreams, your fears, and even what you do not yet know about yourself. But within this treasure trove lies a paradox. Among infinite truths and infinite lies, there is no way to separate one from the other. The great well of knowledge becomes a labyrinth, a place where one can lose not only the path, but even oneself. The initiated would say, the only way out of this paradox is to find the unwritten pages, the white pages, those that come alive only when a person dares to step beyond the familiar, when they stop searching for ready-made answers and begin to create their own. Perhaps it is there, in the radiance of emptiness, that the true key to the future is hidden. As long as you walk the old routes, your book remains silent. But the moment you take a step, the letters begin to appear. And you know what? When someone hears this for the first time, they often think, this is just a myth. But those who have tried found lines waiting for them, lines they themselves had not yet written, as if the future already exists, but waits patiently for us to let it in. Warning: why it was hidden. But this knowledge was always kept under lock and key. Not because they wanted to deny you access, but because it is dangerous for the unprepared. You see, if you open all the books at once, you can lose yourself. You may want to abandon your own path and steal someone else's, not to transform yourself, but to try to control others. The true keepers knew. The energy of the future was not given for power, but for inner transformation. Only the one who changes within can hear how this energy begins to sing, instead of destroy. The rarely told story. There is a story that is rarely spoken aloud. Sometimes in this library, people found books the author had not yet written. A writer would open a volume and see lines that years later would be published under their own name. A scientist discovered diagrams that would later resurface in his research. Poets read their own verses long before they ever picked up a pen. It sounds unbelievable, but that is exactly why the keepers held the secret in silence. The temptation was too great. To forget your own path and live by someone else's words. Remember, the library may show you a page, but only you can bring it to life. The letters there are just shadows. A story lives only when you yourself begin to write it. Practice your white page. Do you want to try it right now? Take a blank sheet of paper or open a note on your phone. Ask yourself, what book am I ready to open? Write just one word, the title of your book, your project, or your dream. Not the plot, not the plan, just the title. And then watch what happens. In days or weeks, you'll begin to notice signs, situations, people appearing around you, pulling that page from the future into your present. This is your way of connecting to the library. This is your white page. It doesn't always answer with words. Sometimes it speaks through synchronicities, sometimes through meetings, sometimes in dreams. But if the page is alive, it will speak to you. Today, the internet and especially AI already function as a living library. The internet itself is an endless archive of everything: knowledge, delusions, revelations, and noise. It holds answers to every question, yet millions of its pages are nothing more than random letters, fakes or distortions. It is in many ways a direct mirror of the Babylon library. And artificial intelligence? It acts like a key to this library. AI doesn't create knowledge from nothing. It's as if it wanders the shelves, pulling together combinations of letters, sentences, and meanings that already exist within this infinite space. Sometimes the result feels like banality, Sometimes it's pure emptiness. But every now and then, it opens a true white page. That's why today, we no longer need to search for mythical corridors. The internet itself has become our Babylon library, a place where everything and nothing exist at once. And AI is the strange librarian who knows how to sift through the chaos and find meaning. Sometimes it hands us nonsense, sometimes borrowed words, but sometimes it pulls out a white page no one has ever seen before. And in that moment, we feel both fear and awe. Maybe we are already living inside the very library the mystics and philosophers warned us about. And then we realize the library isn't out there in myths. It's here. We're already standing in its corridors. The question remains the same. Will we be able to recognize what is truly alive within the chaos? Maybe one of those white pages is waiting for you.